What's up, everyone? Eli here, back for one more new stuff video, collection video, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to have a ton of, I'm not going to be doing a ton of these in the next coming month or whatever, but I do have a few things coming in, and I have a few things that I've gathered since, all the shit that's been going on. But anyways, we'll get on with it. Hope everyone's safe and doing well and shit. Picked this up at a Kinko's of all places. It was just sitting there on the counter. I'm like, it was calling to me. Bob Ross, pop guy with Hoot. It's cool, man. It's so cool. Everyone loves Bob Ross. I used to watch him when I was a kid. I've talked about him plenty, but yeah, seemed like a really fucking good dude. Got a couple CDs here. This CD I used to have, and I got rid of it years ago. I'm not getting rid of anything anymore as far as music goes. Like if it's a band that I really like, one of my favorite bands, even their lesser albums I'm going to hold on to, because I figured like those albums, they didn't turn out very well, for reasons. But it's still part of history. You know what I mean? It's still part of the history of that band. When a band writes an album, records an album, whatever, I'm sure they mean for it to be a great album. They just don't always turn out to be great albums. But anyways, I've always had this weird thing that I like to do with bands that I love. I have kind of a fascination with breaking out their lesser albums and revisiting them like every couple of years. It's just a thing that I do, and just to see maybe it's aged a little better, maybe worse. You never know. But it's something I like doing. I don't know. I've always done that. But anyways, we got Yes with their album Talk. This came out in 94, so it's 90s Yes. Can't really talk too much about it, to be honest, because I really don't remember it very well. Last time I heard it was years and years ago, and I really never got into it, so I'm hoping that I can give it more listens now, and wrap my head around it a little bit better. But it's not a classic Yes album. I mean, it came out in 94, but I'm excited to have it back, and it's gonna stay with me. But yeah, I love Yes, one of my favorite bands, absolutely. This album I bought just because it was an original pressing CD, and the one that I have is not an original pressing, so I kind of didn't want to buy it because I really don't need it, but I bought it anyway, and I'm glad that I did. But we got the first Iron Maiden album, self-titled, came out back in 1980 in Capitol Records. Paul Di'Anno era, obviously. I don't think I really need to go into detail about that. Yeah, definitely not my favorite Maiden album either. It's not even my favorite of the Di'Anno era. I think Killers is a far superior album, but it's still classic. This CD, I should have cleaned it up for this video because it looks like somebody maybe wiped their ass with it or something. But yeah, I bought it used. I've always wanted this on CD. I do have it on vinyl, but I've always wanted it on CD. I just had never wanted to pay much for it, so I was pretty much holding out on like a cheap used copy. But now I have it. We got Crocus Headhunter. I don't know what that massive stain on there is. I'm sure it'd wipe off easily. I definitely should wash my hands after this fucking video because it does look gross. But yeah, 1983. I've never been like a big Crocus guy, to be honest. In fact, this is the only album of theirs I've ever heard, but I love this album. I guess I should probably look into some of their other stuff. If I like this album, I'm sure they have other stuff I'd like too. But yeah, man, check out Headhunter if you haven't. It's just a really good, 80s, hard rock, heavy metal album. Love it. Same with this one. I have this on vinyl, but just never had it on CD. Always wanted it on the CD. We got the debut Manowar album, Battle Hymns. I've never even seen it on CD, to be honest. And this is an original pressing, too, from 1982 on Liberty Records. I always thought it was such a ridiculous cover. The fucking eagle with, like, abs and these all... It's like a body of a human. Why couldn't they just make it look like an eagle? Like, eagles don't look like that. So it's like an eagle man, I guess? I don't know. It's classic cover, but kind of really dumb at the same time. Next, here's the album that I was trying to keep you guys guessing. You know, I'm not going to go into opinions or anything like that, but I would say, according to most statistics, if you did a poll on every black metal fan there is, I would say, 9 times out of 10, this is going to come, this is going to be on like a top 5 list of, or top 5, top 10, whatever, for any black metal fan. Needless to say, regardless of how you feel about it, it is a classic album, and you might think it's odd that I've never owned it. I think it's odd as well. I just, I never went out of my way to buy it, and it's never been sitting in front of me like at a store to pick up, which is odd, and also odd. But and there are other albums like this that I don't have, and you'd probably be like, wow, that I'm like a big fan of, and I've just never owned. But in fact, I have an album coming in the mail that is, in the same boat as this one. One of my favorites. It's a classic black metal album, one of my favorites of all time, and I've never owned it until whenever it shows up in the mail, I guess. But I'll quit rambling. The album we're talking about, Mayhem de Mysterie Dom Satanas. Never owned it. I know, weird. I was looking at this pressing on Discogs. It was kind of vague, kind of hard for me to figure out. I guess it's a Death Like Silence repress. I didn't know they did represses, and I couldn't find like a year when this was repressed. But don't get me wrong, it's not a valuable album or anything like that. It's worth like $9 or $10, which is what I paid for it. It's got the DSP Anti-Mosh 006, just like the original pressing. It's the same thing as the original pressing, just from pictures I've seen, but it's a repress. And like I said, I don't know who was repressing Death Like Silence albums. Maybe Euronymous did this before he died. I don't know. I don't understand. But yeah, did I show that? But yeah, anyways, I'm not going to talk about it. There's no way I could possibly do this album justice, other than saying, I totally agree with it being a classic album. It's a fantastic album. It deserves to be considered a classic album, and I'm glad to finally own it. Slightly embarrassed to admit never having owned it before, but who gives a fuck, I'm not here to impress anybody. Almost done. Got a vinyl record here. Just picked this up today at Walmart. Walmart of all places. I never thought I'd be buying music at Walmart, and I don't think I ever have before, but Rush, Moving Pictures. This is my all-time favorite album, just in general. All time. I fucking worship this album. I have since I was a little kid. I'm going to open it up here. I don't think it comes with shit other than like a digital download card, which I am going to give out to one of you guys because I have it on CD. I don't need, I do typically use download codes. I like to put shit on my iPod and stuff like that, but this one I just don't need, so. Man, just like, the Mayhem album, there's no way I could do this one justice other than saying, kind of what it means to me. If you're going to say, if you're going to say an album is your favorite of all time, like I just did, you could at least talk about it a little bit. Inner sleeve there. So this was the first Rush album I ever heard, and that could be a part of why I love it so much. But I mean, since then, I've heard every single Rush album countless times, dozens of times, hundreds of times in some cases. And this is just the one that has always stuck with me. Sorry, I'm looking for that download code so I can show it. This is the one that has always stuck with me and always will. For me, it's a complete 10 out of 10 album. I don't say that. I can think of maybe 5 albums, in my life or in my collection or whatever that I could say that about. So yeah, there aren't many. This album, I just feel like is Rush at their finest. It's not as complex and progressive as some of the 70s stuff that came before it, but yet it is still progressive. It's just not overly progressive. It's concise. it's kind of like the nice middle ground between progressive and um, just a well-written rock album. It's not super complex, yet it does have moments of complexity. Um, every song on here sounds different. There are no two songs on this album that sound alike. There's no filler, in my opinion, and I'd argue to the death on that one. Um, I don't even feel like that's an opinion. There is no filler on this album. Every song is just written perfectly. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not an 80-minute album. Um, it's just perfection. I mean, back when bands, used to write albums that had songs that all sounded different from each other, not just like, hey, here's 10 songs that all sound the same. I mean, it's just, and it's funny because I say that, and even the band would agree with me on that. They've said in interviews that Moving Pictures is the quintessential Rush album. If I remember correctly, it's all three guys in Rush. It's their favorite album. It's their personal favorite Rush album. They were just so happy with the way it turned out. Yeah, it's just I just feel like it's Rush at its best. They would, in my opinion, and it's my favorite era of Rush would be like the like basically the first half of the 80s. I mean, I love the 70s stuff, but for me, it's like 80 through 86, I think, all the way up until Power Windows, and that's including Power on Windows. That's a great album too. That's my favorite era of Rush. They added more keyboards, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Didn't for me. I love it. I love that sound. I love Geddy's synthesizers. I think they're just perfect. Tasteful, not overdone. So yeah, that's the era of Rush that I love the most. Oh yeah, here's the. Yeah, okay. Check out this part up here. If that's something you want. Sorry, it's backwards. I guess you'll have to figure that out. Hopefully it's not too blurry. Yeah, go for it if you need it. So anyways, oh yeah, and I bought, I was at Goodwill, picked this up. I don't know how many friends I have that are, into reading and stuff, but I don't read a lot of like classic literature. I mostly read horror and stuff like that. So pick this up for like, I don't know, $1. Faust. I always kind of wanted to, it's one of those stories that you hear about, your whole life basically. I've always kind of wanted to read it, and I've always wanted to know what it was all about. Really, I don't know. Oh fuck! It's in German. Oh man. Okay, never mind. Okay, it's German on one side. That's cool. It's German on one side and then English on the other. So you get both versions here. That's cool. Right on. Anyways, that's all I got, guys. I have, like I said, I have a couple things coming in the mail. I have a trade that I did with actually a fairly well-known figure in the metal underground. I don't know if I'll name him. I don't know if I should be doing that, but yeah, I got some stuff coming in. I need to send his stuff with everything that's been going on. We've just been kind of falling behind. But yeah, I got some cool shit coming from him. Just a couple other things coming in the mail, but that's gonna be really about it. I'm not gonna be spending a whole lot of money on music probably for the next couple months, but I shouldn't anyways. I mean, I'm sure all of us collectors, we have enough to listen to probably the rest of our lives without buying anything new. So. I think it'd be cool just to and I kind of have been doing that. I haven't been worried this year about buying new releases and shit. I couldn't even really tell you, what new releases are all the rage right now. I'm just kind of focusing on listening to the stuff that I already have that I've been neglecting and all that. But I figure, I am still interested in new releases. Of course, I'm not turning my back on that, but. I figure the one, after all the dust settles and, the ones that are worth checking out, I will, maybe later this year or maybe even next year, I'll go back and, check out the ones that were, actually maybe worth buying. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys have been listening to and what you've been doing and shit. Hopefully you're all safe. I'm going to don't know. I'm trying not to say cliche shit. We'll get through this together. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, stay safe. We'll talk soon. Cheers. Bye.